Ever get stuck trying to paint your favorite characters, but something always feels off? Today, I'm sharing a little secret on how I fixed that while painting Pearline from Sinners. Flaws, adjustments, and all. Hello. I am Eva, aka Golden Muse, and welcome back to my channel, where today I am painting Pearline from the movie Sinners. So here is another kind of early attempt at doing portrait painting. This is actually kind of a new technique I've kind of realized worked for me, and it's kind of this thing I'm doing now where I kind of roughly paint the shape of the reference. And by the way, this reference is basically a screenshot from the movie that I don't know, like someone put a scene on Twitter and I just took a screenshot of it, so it's not like the highest quality, and I think that made this more challenging because it was very pixelated. But anyways, I just painted like kind of the rough main shapes from the reference, and I just find when I paint, the less drawing I do, the more flexible I am when it comes to the actual work, because I'm not as attached to the line art. But when it comes to the face, I do kind of roughly sketch out the face, or at least the features of the face, because for me, it just helps to know where things go, like where I'm putting the eyes, where I'm putting the mouth, where I'm putting the nose. Like, I just need that as a reference. But even with that, it's not, like, a lot of times when I do that, it's probably not accurate. Like, if I flip it, it might look crazy. So that's why painting over it, which is the eventual goal, it's easier for me to kind of like move things around and kind of shift things to where it kind of matches the reference, or it just matches my eye. just what I can clearly see looks correct or what doesn't look correct. And also, full transparency, this is not the first attempt at painting Pearline. This is actually my second attempt. There might even be like multiple attempts in this in this video. The first attempt was pretty abysmal. It just looked awful, and I just basically started from scratch. The first attempt was kind of the same way I did my Annie portrait, where I tried to paint or just draw the entire face out, draw the entire thing out, and paint from there, but it just was not working the same for Pearline at all. And I think the reference being so pixelated didn't help either, so I just kind of scrapped that and started over. Did a bit more practice, did a bit more portraits in between then, and got to a point where I was more comfortable trying this again, because I didn't want to give up on Pearline. I wanted to really do this fan art. So that's where I started doing kind of this technique you're seeing now. This is where I kind of learned about, face temperatures. Like, I didn't know this for a good while, which is kind of shameful, but, I'm learning about, again, at this point, I have better understanding of structure, features of the face, so it's kind of easier, even though I can't really see from the reference, it's kind of easy to kind of do a kind of educated guess on, certain things that are commonly seen on the face. Speaking of references, I just want to shout out Pure Ref. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but if you're an artist and you use references, if you're not using Pure Ref, what are you doing? Please, I'm like begging you to use Pure Ref. I think that also helped a lot, because with that, you're able to kind of like easily manipulate the reference as well. Like, I think for me, the biggest thing was not being able to flip the reference easily without having to like bring it also into Photoshop or, whatever program you're using. And it just is way more work. With Pure Ref, you can just flip it within there. And then I know for me, the reference looks very different when you flip it. And so when I flip the art piece, I'm like better able to correct it, because now the reference is also flipped and I'm able to kind of see what went wrong the first time. So yeah, there you kind of saw me playing out with layers, because I was kind of feeling like, I don't know, this is working. I was trying to do some layer tricks, multiply, color burn, some color overlay. I was like, because sometimes that can be a cheat code, but I was kind of relying a little bit too much on that, and it's started to become a little bit overworked. This is where you kind of see I yeah. And I think, I wanted to get her skin tone right, but again, the screenshot I used was just, there's really no saturation. So I'm kind of adding saturation where I think it should be, and I'm not sure it's accurate. You know what I mean? So I kind of put like a purple overlay over it a little bit because I'm like, there's no saturation, and it just kind of looked, I don't know. I didn't like the kind of cold color that was in the rough. So, yeah. And it's just, let's be real here. Sometimes painting dark skin tones is more of a challenge than painting lighter skin tones because there's more you're working with here. There's more light reflections, and then it's a matter of making sure the face or the skin still feels alive and not just, different shades of brown. Like trying to add different color to dark skin is kind of a challenge if you're not really, being careful. So here is like more manipulations with the layers. And then of course I don't want to make her like lighter than she is either. So it's like you have to kind of, it's a fine balance. You have to be careful, But I think the best thing though is like make sure your reference is like high quality, especially if you're not really as knowledgeable with portrait painting. Like I really wasn't at this point. Like I was still learning like while painting this, That's why you may notice a lot of times you'll find like me kind of painting over things and like, because it's just, I literally didn't know what I was doing. I was literally kind of just figuring this out during this painting. And because I'd already painted it before, and this is kind of a repaint of it, I'm like, I gotta do this right this time. So a little bit of that desperation kind of snuck in. Yeah, I'm trying to do her justice, you know what I mean? Just trying to do her justice. So if you've seen the movie, you may recognize what screenshot this was. This is where she's talking to Preacher Boy. This is kind of where she meets Preacher Boy, actually. It's that scene. And this might have been from the trailer, actually, because maybe, I don't know. I haven't watched the trailer in a while, but... So I think here's where I started using a different brush. I was using kind of a sharper edge brush because before it was looking very kind of airbrushy and I wasn't satisfied with that. So I was like, let me go ahead and add some kind of like texture to this because it just feels like it felt too soft all over. So I wanted to I was attempting to fix that, I guess. About Pearline as a character herself. I liked her. Should I talk about this? I don't want to spoil anything for those who haven't seen the movie. Let's just say, she kind of fits the title of the movie, Sinners. We'll just leave it at that. But, again, for me seeing, like a dark-skinned black woman being an object of desire, being a love interest, that was very exciting to see because it's just not often done in Hollywood. So that's the reason why I wanted to paint her too, because it's like, I want to kind of record this moment like, hey, this exists. And, thank you, Ryan Coogler. So, it just gives me more inspiration to like paint something like fan art or something that I actually feel represents dark-skinned black women, because it's like, why leave them out, Hollywood needs to really start taking some notes just on what people want to see and what brings in money. There's a much larger audience out there just is never really being catered to. And movies like Sinners are great on multiple levels, as a horror movie, as a Black American movie, as a movie with like strong representation of, you know, dark-skinned Black women. Like, all of those things will bring people to the theater. You know what I mean? That happened with Black Panther too. Like, there's like a large untapped audience that Hollywood doesn't really pay that much attention to, it feels like. And I mean, really, that's for artists like Ryan Coogler to really step their foot into. And it's just a shame there aren't more directors like him out there. And if there are, you know, they aren't really, I guess they haven't been discovered yet, or, you know, it's just, you know, Hollywood's not letting them in. It could be, who knows? All I know is I really love to see more movies like Sinners, and with more kind of diverse casting like this. So that way I can, you know, paint more characters like this. At least fan art, you know, because I have my OCs. Yeah, I just thought she was really pretty, and I'm like, let me go ahead and paint her. Yeah, I'm just kind of adding some highlights. I don't know if that was all in the reference, but, you know, just trying to liven this painting up a little bit. I mean, I think I still see some imperfections, but I think I'm satisfied with this painting so far. I think it's just, I gotta be done with it. I can't overwork it more than I already have. So there it is. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed this, please go ahead and like this video. That really helps the channel out. If you have a nice thing to say, I don't mind polite comments. And if you want to stick around longer, if you really like what I'm doing here, feel free to subscribe. I would truly appreciate that too. Anyways, take care, guys, and have a wonderful day. Peace.